Hi, this is Sherry from OurLifeHomeschooling.com. I blog here to encourage moms. I think there's something incredibly special about the everyday homeschool mom. I find that people have two opinions about homeschool moms. They either think we are super mom, we have everything all together, and I could never do that. She must be so organized. Or they have the opposite opinion where can she do that? Is she qualified? Are her kids missing things? Can they pass the standardized tests? Do they have friends? It usually goes one of two ways. But the truth is, homeschool moms are just ordinary moms who care about their kids just like every mom does. And we want what's best for our kids. We're just working one day at a time, one step at a time with our kids where they're at. And we've made a lot of mistakes along the way. We learn from those mistakes and we just keep going. We want what's best for our kids so that if we can't give it to them or we don't have that resource within ourselves, then we find someone who has it, or we find a class online, or we find an activity somewhere that will meet that need. We're going to meet my friend Jackie today. I knew Jackie back when we had just one child and lived in Virginia. And we recently connected, and we both have a full house now and have both found in common that we are homeschooling. So we had a lot to talk about. Jackie has a lot of experience. I was surprised to find that even though we've lived apart all these years, we are very similar in the way we homeschool. We use a lot of the same resources. And as I was looking through her answers to the questions, I thought, I could have written this. It just seemed so similar to my style and to what I enjoy doing with our kids. So I hope you enjoy what Jackie has to share. Hi, Jackie.
Hey, Sherry.
It's so good to see you all the way out in Arkansas.
Good to see you too. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it really has. And I was just thinking back to how we know each other. And we both lived in Virginia for a little while,
Yes.
and our husbands were working together. And we invited you to church with us. And you guys came to church one Sunday, and we had you over for dinner, and we just got along great. And at that time, we had our oldest, Ty, and
and we didn't have any kids.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking.
And you were a teacher. Weren't you teaching? Or maybe that was when you were pregnant.
Yes, I was teaching. I was teaching then, and probably that was my last year because after he was born, I stayed. So
I know we were so sad when you moved.
Yes, I know.
I know. Because then you had all these kids, and then we had kids, and it was like,
Yeah.
It would have been fun to do life together.
It would have.
Yes.
It's really nice to reconnect with you and to see that we have so much in common after all these years.
Yeah, I know.
So why don't you go ahead and just introduce yourself?
Okay. I'm Jackie, and I have been married for pretty much 15 years, and I have 5 kids. My oldest is 13, almost 14, and he'll be entering high school next year. And then I have an 11-year-old daughter. I have 2 sons that are 9 and 7, and then my last one, my little girl, is 4. And we've been homeschooling since the very beginning.
Wow. That is so hard for me to believe, just knowing how time has lapsed and how much has lapsed since I saw you.
I know. It's crazy. He's like a man-child. He looks just like his dad, and
Oh,
it's crazy.
Wow. Yeah. And
Taller than me.
He was a baby the last time I saw him.
Yeah.
That was the last time.
Yes.
So did
I
you
know.
always want to homeschool, or how'd you end up here?
I know it was always in the back of my mind. I was homeschooled through high school, actually, from um, ninth through 12th grade. My mom decided to take me out. My grandmother got cancer and we had to go take care of her. And by that time, I think it was 2 months, we stayed and took care of her. I just couldn't go back and catch up with school. So we decided to homeschool, and I enjoyed that. I got to graduate early. And so homeschool wasn't new to me. My husband had been homeschooled on and off. So it was kind of in the back of my head, but I hadn't firmly decided. I was open to other things.
Mhm.
But honestly, my son, he turns 5 in August. So I thought, well, I don't really have to send him to school yet. I could wait till he's 6. So that was kind of my excuse, just to keep him at home the first year. And then I started doing some school with him, and I just really enjoyed it. He was a busy little guy. I couldn't imagine him going to school all day, sitting anywhere. He loved being outside. And
Mm,
I just thought I wanted to give him that gift of most of the day playing outside in the dirt with his trucks.
yes.
And so that's kind of how we started.
Oh, wow. And
Mhm.
then when your second child came along, did you just kind of were you in your groove by then and you just kept going?
Yes, it was. I would say that by the third one, I really had to figure out, why do I want to keep doing this, and what's the plan here.
Yeah.
So really, my husband was he was already seeing the benefits of it, the fruits of it a little bit, and we just decided, if we were going to lay this foundation on Jesus and his word and give them a Christian worldview, this is the way we should go. We just thought, for us, this is just the best way.
Mm,
So, once you have your why, firm, then, it doesn't, those back and forth and wondering from year to year kind of go away. You know what you're going to do.
yeah, right. Hmm. So
Mhm.
what does now, after all these years and you've been homeschooling for a while, what would you say it looks like in your house on just an average day? Can you just give us a picture of what that would look
Yeah. Sometimes, yeah, mostly looks crazy, but we make it happen. We make it work. Um, it's basically, it's just, let's see. We just start the day. Everyone kind of has a little quiet time. We're trying to get habits going where we make our beds up, we
like?
get dressed, brush our teeth. We're working on those things. And then by 9 o'clock, we start our day, and that's given me some time to kind of just do what I need to do. I hate waking up and all of a sudden the day we have got to get going. I need a little time to get ready and maybe go for a walk and get into the word, things like that, and just have a look. Okay, what are we going to do today? What's our goal?
Mm-hmm.
And so my older ones, it's wonderful when they get older and they're independent and they just do what they need to do. They get started, and they kind of like that. They don't always want mom hovering over them. They're ready to get their work done. And then my two little ones, I've got one that's learning to read. So that's very hands-on. He needs me a lot at this time. And then
Mm-hmm.
my other little guy, he's kind of not that good of a reader yet. So that's a lot of hands-on. So my first part of my morning is just working with them.
Mm-hmm.
And my little girl she's just running around, playing, listening. And it's just funny how they just get used to it. So that's just life, mom doing schoolwork, and they don't need my attention all the time because they're just used to that. And I mean, she'll cuddle up right with me while we're reading. And so after they're done, we kind of take a break. I check with the other ones if they need help and answering questions, which a lot of times they do, because pre-algebra is hard and it's hard for me, and I gotta say, that takes a good amount of the day. But then we have lunch, and I really like to have a quiet time after lunch, just for me to regroup, to get my coffee. And I just love for them just go in their rooms, and some of them share rooms, so just stay on your bed and just read, look at books, read your fun books, your enjoyable books.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll meet again for family time. And family time is just all the stuff that we do together, which would be geography and Um, we try to do a hymn study, look at art, those kind of things. And maybe we'll do our read aloud then. And we love to learn about a place in geography and then go watch a YouTube video about it. Or, you look at our artist and then find it, there's so much out there. So
yeah,
that's something kind of fun that we all do. And then we do science afterwards and nature study if we're able to. And then we call it a day around 3.
okay.
So usually it's 2 or 3 and I'm done. I'm ready for it to be done. Because it really is. I mean, I think the first few years I looked at homeschooling as kind of a side job. And, it's just kind of like this thing I did on the side.
Yeah.
But as the years go on, there's more of them. My mindset really is from 9 to 3, this is my job. And I can't stop and go turn on the TV. I can't really get any of, really housework done until, other times of the day. This is what my focus has to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a commitment, a time commitment for the mom. Now, would you say your kids are working that whole time from 9 to 3, or um, is that you getting to each? Is that
Yes. We take a lot of breaks. So I would say, probably an hour of work in the morning, and then little boys will just play, and pretty much they're done with school until family time when they do the extra stuff with us. And then the older ones, they'll probably work for 2 hours in the morning, take a break, and then usually they can get all their seat work done, their books and things in that amount of time. And then family time is when we catch up with all the other things.
I like that family time. We do, I call it morning time, when we all do kind of our stuff together. We do some things in the morning right after breakfast, but then we also do a little bit after lunch. But I've never called it anything, but after lunch is when we read aloud and we do science reading together. And it's really sweet time, because at that point usually our nappers are down, and so it's just quieter in the house, and you get to just kind of work one-on-one with the kids and learn new things together.
Yes.
Yeah. So what would you say is your favorite thing that you do with your kids?
Well, I do love reading out loud to them. I remember when I first started reading out loud, and I heard about Sarah Mackenzie, the Read Aloud Revival, and I just, saw how important it was. But I just remember my voice would get so tired. Like after 10 minutes, I was just dying. I'm trying to drink. And it's funny how I built myself up. Now I can go a full 30 minutes and I'm not tired at all. But I had to build it up. It was hard for me at first. I was like, how are people doing this? But that is my favorite time. I remember there was one book we read, The Golden Goblet, and it was during it's set in Egypt, during ancient Egypt, and it was so much. It was on the level of my 6th and 4th grader, but my little guys, my Jackson, who was I guess probably 5 at the time. The book I think it was scary, but just it was a little intense, and he would just get so. Oh, I'm so scared. And he would go hide behind the couch. We started reading it. And I didn't love that he was scared, but just to know that even at that age, he could tell what was going on, the mood of the book, and that it was getting tense. And he got a little nervous with it. So, those times are just fun when we're all just kind of on the edge of our seat, wanting to know what's going to happen next. And yeah. And my kids, homeschooling does make children, for the most part, get along. I've had a lot of comments about how my kids, they're all so sweet to each other. And I think that is just, they have to be. They're with each other all day long. Right now we've downsized. I think our house is 1,600 square foot. It is tiny for all 7 of us. And we've had to learn how to not get on each other's nerves, how to forgive quickly, and how to help the little guys. And that's just a wonderful thing. I mean, that's probably one of my favorite things that
Yeah.
homeschooling has given us is the close relationships with the siblings.
Each other. Oh yes. I would agree. I've seen the same
Hmm.
thing. I mean, they sure do know how to go at it, but
Yes, yes. Hmm.
for the most part, they play so well together, and just watching their creativity and watching them make things together. And even like what you were saying about reading aloud to them, I think about that with my own kids. And when I think about all the places we've been in books,
Hmm.
we just had some great shared experiences and great
Yes.
memories of
Hmm.
things. And yeah, to watch them on the edge of their seats, and like they just, oh, please, one more chapter.
Oh, yeah, they don't want to stop. Hmm.
I can't
Right.
say no to that.
I know. Hmm.
So how about some mistakes or some rough times? Can you think of
Yes.
any times that
Oh,
were
yeah. There's been, yeah. Um, it is. I think homeschooling really aids in your sanctification process quickly. I guess it really helps refine you. But I would say that one of the main things that I think the lies of the homeschool world is that if you homeschool, your children are going to be super smart. I mean, it's just like a natural byproduct of homeschooling that they're just academically going to excel off the charts, you know. And I think in my mind, I just thought that was going to happen. And so in Virginia, you had to test every year, and I would spend some extra money, take John and Ava to a lady that would do like an hour and a half test on them. And she would just come back and she would just tell me their math was not the right level it should be. Ava's she was a high reading level, but her reading comprehension is low. They don't know very many history facts. I mean, it was rough, and to me, they were above average still, very above average, but
Mhm.
you just hear all these critiques and you're just crushed.
Yeah.
And so, I think I took that as we got to work harder. We got to, really push it. And so my older son, he's, firstborn perfectionist,
Mhm.
and he really did not need me doing that, but that's how we did it. Math was a time usually of tears. And because he wasn't quite getting it and I didn't know why, and I'm trying to explain it several different ways. And he did not like, I had a grammar book that, I mean, it was thick. And I think he was only in third grade probably. And he was doing pages after pages. And
Mhm.
it just, it wasn't long that I figured out this is not how this shouldn't be going like this.
Yeah.
And I, put the books up. That's when I really started digging into Charlotte Mason and learning about that. And I just realized, and then I noticed also if I would just give him a few more months, even sometimes it would just be a few more weeks, all of a sudden the light bulb would come on,
Yeah.
and it was just like click. Oh, I get it, I understand it. And that just showed me I just need to wait for him. Like, I should not be pushing that. If he's not getting it, let's stop and do something else and come back to this at a later time.
Mhm.
So that was one of my mistakes. And I am much more with my last two. I mean, we don't start kindergarten until 6. I don't feel like there's any rushing it. I'm
Yeah.
going to wait as long as I can, basically. And, we just kind of go a slow pace. I mean, the pace they want to go. And
Mhm.
yeah, so.
Yeah, I would say I made the same mistake with our oldest. I definitely pushed him a lot harder than our other kids, and I think it's probably a common thing, just because you're learning for yourself and you feel like you have to, um, can I do this? Can I do this?
Yeah.
This,
Mm-hmm.
you want to make sure that you're keeping up, and that they're staying, where they're supposed to be. And so I would
Yeah.
say our oldest, and I have told him many times, I'm sorry, hi, you're the guinea pig, but
Yep.
we're going to be
Mm-hmm. Oh,
really
my son
hard
knows it. Yes.
person.
Mhm.
So I can really relate to that. And I wonder if a lot of it does come from just feeling like we have to, just kind of finding our way and being okay with, and I'm the same way with my younger kids. When they tell me that they want to read, then okay, all right, let's start.
Yes.
But I'm not starting at 3 with reading
No.
lessons or
No.
4. I am waiting until they come to me. And as long as they're being read aloud to a lot, and they are when they're the youngest, then they're getting so much. And at least with
Oh
my
yeah.
kids, my experience has been that they get to a point where they see everyone else reading and they want that tool. They want
Yes.
that tool for themselves, and they are just so driven to be able to do it
Mhm.
that it's really a lot less work, or at least it has been for
Yes.
me with my younger kids than it was
Mhm.
originally with my older kids, for sure.
Yes. When they want it, that's when it finally starts happening.
Yeah.
It's like you're going over the letters and they're just off, in the distance. They don't could care less. But then when they want to start reading, they'll remember.
Yeah, they remember the things they want to remember and the things they want to do. They
Mhm.
can be pretty
Yeah.
common. So, what would your experienced self tell your newbie self if you could go back?
I know. Well, I love, I remember my father's world, sunlight, those were the curriculums I loved. And, they come in a box and you have everything. I mean, they've got the math, language arts, they have history, science, activities. I mean, the whole shebang.
Mm-hmm.
And so, um, I just loved it. And I would get carried away with the history stuff and the missionary stories. And that was all well and good. But by the time my son was, first grade, I was, pregnant, and I deal with lots of morning sickness. So that really keeps you from getting a lot done in the day. And I was noticing what I should have been focusing on, the reading, the writing, the arithmetic, it wasn't getting done every day because I felt all this other pressure to get all of the different other, things done.
Mm-hmm.
And I really should have just given myself a break from that, even though it is wonderful and we made some great memories. We should have just been focusing on the most important stuff because you can't get it all in a day. By the time I guess he was in fourth grade or maybe a little older, I have my busy toddler, pregnant, and life was crazy. I mean, it was all I could do. So I think I basically did school at nap time. Nap time. As soon as the little, Jackson went to bed, I was, come on, let's get it out. Let's do it. And it was hard, and I think I felt guilty all the time because we weren't doing all the activities. But those days will come. There will come times when
Mm-hmm.
you do have extra time, or the grandparents take the kids, or your little one will get older, and you will have time to do some of the fun stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I also, I recommend. I love doing art projects, but I just don't have time in my life right now to do art projects with them. So that's one of the main classes I want to sign them up at co-op, is for someone else to teach them that. Or science. I'm not a big science person. That's like the last on our list, and a lot of times it doesn't even happen. So maybe that's one of the classes my kids will do.
Yeah.
Or I'll find another homeschool mom that loves science and ask, can my son join in
Yeah.
in your science lesson?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
So,
good in there.
but you do have to give yourself grace. You're not going to be able to do it all, especially if you keep growing your family. That's just, every family looks different, and you just have 2 kids, and that's all you keep having. You are able to do so much more.
Yeah.
So you do have to give yourself grace.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember so many afternoons after lunch, which I always read aloud to the kids after lunch. And I remember so many of them sitting on the couch and reading, and I just start falling asleep. And I
Oh yeah.
usually hand the
Mhm.
book over to the oldest child, and of course you feel bad that you're falling asleep, but it's temporary. It's temporary,
Mhm.
and the kids still read. Somehow we have made it through, a couple pregnancies, and the exhaustion that comes with it, but
Yes.
you make
Mhm.
sure, and the kids are okay. They are
Mhm.
okay, and maybe we didn't accomplish everything that I had planned or wanted to do that year or for that month, but then we caught up and it was
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
So how about your philosophy of education? How does that play out for you, or how important is that to you in the actual day-to-day?
Yes. I'm super passionate about, I guess you could say, this philosophy of education that I found that I just love. I think my mom gave me the book For the Children's Sake
I
around when
love
my
that
son was
book.
kind of entering kindergarten, and I read it, and I mean, it sounds wonderful, but you kind of have a hard time picturing it. So I would kind of tend to buy curriculum that said it was Charlotte Mason, type. And so that's what I would make sure I bought. But then as the years go by, and I love Cindy Rollins, which
I
she does that from the Mason Jar podcast, and her book Mere Motherhood. I just really love listening to her. And at the homeschool conventions, a couple times I got to see her, talk.
Oh wow.
And so, I got seeing more of how this really takes place. And she mentioned Ambleside, that she uses that. And so I looked on the Ambleside. I remember looking at it and thinking, I just love this. I loved all the books they mentioned. I love how they did it. And so I did my best. And I won't say that I do Ambleside completely. I
Mhm.
don't do every book, but I really try. I mean, when I schedule and look at our next year, that's my first place I go. And
Mhm.
that's where I'm going to grab my history books and my read alouds and, not so much science, because it's hard to find all those science books that they
Mhm.
mention, but
Mhm.
the geography books and
Yeah.
even the Bible books that they mention,
Mhm.
recommend. That's one of my go-to things. And that works for our family. I mean, even my kids and me, when we look at a textbook, we just get sick. We just don't like the textbook and the dryness of it, even if it could be filled with colored pictures. I don't know, there's something about it. We just
Yeah.
all love the story form writing.
Yeah.
And so that's what we kind of do. And it's amazing. We've also tried Beautiful Feet. We did Beautiful Feet just because we all wanted to kind of do the same history. And so we did the medieval ages. And even for my daughter who despises history, she doesn't understand why we have to learn it. She loved all of those books.
Oh,
And really it gave her a good feel about how the medieval ages went down and what it looked like and what was the main people in it. And so I just can't say enough about the Charlotte Mason. It's really given me, it helps me decide what kind of co-ops I'm going to join. I'm not going to join a co-op that is super intense or wants them to memorize a bunch of stuff, because that's not, even though I think some of my kids would be great at that, that's just not the direction I want them to go,
yeah, I love Ambleside. I fell in love with it too, just for the books. And
uh,
I'm sure you've heard before that Charlotte Mason says if you look at it as a feast, where you're not trying to just check books off of your list, but you're going to a feast and you're picking what you really like and
uh-huh.
just taking and enjoying it. And
Yeah.
my kids love learning the same, exactly what you said, learning history and learning literature through books, through just
Uh-huh.
written books that they enjoy. And um,
Yes.
we've just really enjoyed Ambleside as well. And
Uh-huh.
just so many
Yeah.
great memories and things that we've read through there. So
Yes.
I'm going to move to the next question. How about you talked about co-ops a little bit. How about your kids' social network? Because a lot of homeschoolers, new homeschoolers especially, are concerned and want to make sure that their kids are going to have friends and feel like they're a part of something. So how does that work for you?
There is so much activities out there now. I mean, I remember when I was homeschooled in high school, what, like, 15, over 15 years ago. I mean, there was a couple co-ops, but nothing like it is now. I mean, it's just, you could be busy every day of the week if you wanted to with something. We have even our library here, we moved to Arkansas a year ago. The library actually has a homeschool hour on Wednesdays
Oh, wow.
where, for all ages. So I take my kids, and these wonderful librarians divide the kids up into ages and take them and do a fun activity with them for an hour. And that's completely free. And I get to sit at the library. If my little girl will go into her class, I get to sit there and just chill out for a whole hour.
Nice.
And I didn't pay anything, and I'm in my favorite place, which is the library. So, I mean, I was blown away by that. And I thank them over and over again that they will do this for us.
Yes. Wow.
So, sometimes I've gotten too busy some years. And I've noticed with me, it really is better if we choose to do an activity in the afternoon or evening rather than take a whole day up, because honestly, the co-op day, you're not getting any other school done. That's it, is
Yeah.
the co-op stuff. So, and we've done co-ops that are actual classes that they will take from teachers, and we've liked that. And then we've also just done fun activities where the moms will come in and do art, or even they'll just play board games. So, we've done homeschool sports. We've done a lot of stuff. And so my daughter she loves being with people. So that's very important to her. So I have to make sure I get her out. But honestly, I think the best thing to do is just to have other homeschool moms and families over to your house. Because I've talked about with other homeschool moms, you go to these co-op classes, or even like the library days, and these kids, I mean, they're sitting in a room together learning, but they're not developing friendships that well. And it is when you have them over for the afternoon and you just hang out, that's where the friendships happen. And so that's kind of where we do a lot of our stuff. Let's just go hang out. Let's just go to the park. Sometimes if there's enough families, we'll do a kickball game or flag football or capture the flag. And that's what they enjoy the most.
Yeah, good memories. All right, so what's one last thing, if you had one thing that you wanted people to remember, or you could tell a new mom, that would just be the encouragement that you'd want to give her?
Oh man. I would say if you're thinking about homeschooling, do it, because you're never going to regret your homeschool year. Like, that's what I tell myself. I'm never going to look back, even though maybe I didn't accomplish all that I wanted to. I'm never going to think, oh, I just wasted this whole year hanging out with my kids every day.
Yeah.
I might regret it if I sent them to school and it didn't work out. Like, I might regret that, but I'm never going to regret a homeschool year, because that time with them is priceless. And so I would say, if you're thinking about it, just do it. There's no regrets. There's nothing. Yeah. So, but I think, it's the days will get hard. You'll go through seasons. This year I went through one where I just was tired of it. I didn't want to do it anymore. And I wanted to think about something else. I was tired of thinking about schooling all the time.
Because it can consume you.
Yes. And I needed something else in my life. But honestly, it was about 2 months, and then God just he energized me again, and, gave me a joy and a love for it. And we finished out the year strong, and I'm already planning for next year. And I know days like that will come. But he does. I feel like, whenever I just fully relied on him, he's given me the strength and the wisdom to know what to do next, especially because there's so many decisions to make about homeschooling, what's right for each kid. And it gets hard. And I just feel like he always directs me. So I would say just trust in him for the whole ride.
Yeah, just rely on his strength and leading. That's great. Well, thank you so much for just sharing your life. I know it can be intimidating to just kind of open up and, tell us all about what happens in your family. But really appreciate it because I know it encourages people, and I know that there are going to be people that relate to you and to a lot of the things you said. I know I did. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.